Hey, what's going on here guys? Switch TV. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a full class guide for every single class and all the viable specs. If you guys are new to the game, you can use my referral code to get 400 V coins, which you can use in the cash shop. You can put this referral code in when you create your character on the bottom right of the character creation screen. The format that I'm going to use is going to be skill priority, gear, stat allocation, skill stones, power stones, and talismans, and then I'll explain the skills on the next slide. I'll have a quick pause break at the end of each slide so the subtitles don't cover it. If you guys are unsure of how any of the mechanics work for enhancing power stones, talismans, or set bonuses, I have a complete guide in there with every single set bonus listed so you guys can theory craft your own as well. I'll link it on the top right so you guys can watch it later. There are currently 10 weapons in Quinfall: sword and shield, two-handed sword, spear, dual axes, dual daggers, warhammer, bow, dual crossbows, arcane staff, and life staff. We're going to go ahead and talk about all these different classes and their sub-spec. Each weapon archetype has 2 specs, so let's jump into it. First up is sword and shield. Sword and shield is the tank class of Quinfall. They provide a lot of shields, peel, and the ability to keep your team alive. The first spec we're going to talk about is Iron Warden. I got this build from Blanky, so shout out to him. When leveling up, you're going to want to prioritize from top to bottom Rallying Cry, Unending Vow, Relentless Charge. We're going to get all those to level 25 and then start putting points into Ricochet shields, allocate a point into Rampart, and skip Reckoning. Iron Warden is going to be in heavyweight class always, so it's going to be 4 pieces of heavy armor. You're going to want the 4 set for each of the following: Whispering Gale, Warlord's Honor, and Blade Wind. For skill stones, it's going to be Physical Booster. You also might want the Taunt skill stones if you're doing world bosses. Sword and Shield scales off of magic defense and physical defense, so you're going to want those for power stones, and then also HP and HP regen. Aim for about 150 on the regen. For allocated stats, you're going to want 100 defense and 100 res because Sword and Shield scales off of resistances and defense. You want to use Rallying Cry for a defense and damage buff. You would want to use this ability when the enemy is trying to engage on you or if your team is engaging to mitigate burst. Unending Vow is also a 40% damage reduction. It's in a circle around you. It does have a cast time, so you need to make sure you cast it safely so that way it doesn't get interrupted. Relentless Charge is your gap closer. It's also a stun, so you can use it to engage on enemies. Rampart blocks all damage in the front and you'll mitigate bursts and to protect your team. Ricochet Shield is your catch, so you can throw it at people. It's a shield toss and you'll stun them. Next up is Vanguard, the other spec for sword and shield. I also got this build from Blanky, so shout out to him. We're going to want to level celerity to 25, break the line to 25, shield bash to 25, get dread chain to 23, valiant slash to 1, and heroic drop to 1. If you want more damage, you can substitute shield bash 25 for valiant slash 25. Vanguard is also going to be in heavyweight class, so 4 times heavy pieces. For the sets, they're going to be the same as Iron Warden. You're going to want Whispering Gale at ×4, Warlord's Honor ×4, and Blade Wind ×4. For skill stones, you're going to want a Physical Booster. You can also go with the Taunt ones if you're having trouble holding aggro. For stats, you're going to want 100 defense and 100 resistances. And for power stones, you're going to want magical defense, HP regen to 150, HP, and physical defense. You want to use celerity off cooldown to keep shield stacked on your team. You want to use break the line to line up to hit multiple players. Dread chain is affected by ping and also elevation, so if the person you're trying to pull is not on the same plane as you, it won't work. Heroic drop and shield bash are your gap closers. You can stun them to get some auto attacks in, and depending on the distance, you can combine the 2 to double your range for an even larger gap closer. Next up is two-hand sword. Two-hand sword has 2 viable specs: Hellknight and Duelist. We'll go into more detail on the next slides, but I'm going to start with Duelist. Shout out to Alice for giving me this build. You're going to want to get Brave Dash to 25, Razor Echo to 25, Final Verdict to 25, and the next 2 are up to you. Retaliation 24. If you can react in time to get the counters, it's worth leveling up Retaliation to 24 and making Light Burst 1. Otherwise, just put Light Burst to 24 and keep Retaliation at 1. For stats, you're going to want 100 Strength, 100 Con. You want to be in lightweight class, so that's going to be 3 pieces of light and a heavy chest. Skill stones, you want Physical Booster, Power Stones, Physical AP, Critical Chance, and HP. And for sets, you're going to want a 4x Dragon Claw for the crit damage. And you're also going to want 2 other set bonuses, whether it's Tempest, Ravagers, or Blade Weavers, to the 4. So you'll have in total 3 4 sets. For the Legendary, you're going to do the same thing, but instead of 4, you're going to do 3 on Tempest, 3 on Ravager, and 3 on Blade Weaver, and then 2 on Sovereign's Legacy for your Legendary pieces. Razor Echo is going to be your bread and butter. It resets the dash on a successful hit. It also hits in an AoE. and it's very consistent high damage. Light Burst is going to be your next damage. Light Burst is a 2-second AoE stun and it does pretty good damage. Final Verdict is your ultimate. It executes anyone below 20% HP. It's a massive AoE and does a lot of damage, and also heals nearby allies by 5% per second. Retaliation upon successful counterattack gives you attack speed, movement speed, and physical damage by 10% for 5 seconds. Brave Dash is a low cooldown dash that gives you shield. You can use it for disengaging or engaging. Next up is Hellknight, the other two-hand sword specialization. Shout out to Anime is Real for giving me this build. You're going to want to prioritize getting Last Stand to 25, Frenzy to 25, Hellbringer to 24, Fury Impact to 24, and then Cyclone Slash and Doomfall are going to be 1. Alternatively, you can also put a few points into Cyclone Slash and take away from Fury Impact if you want a lower cooldown. For stats, you're going to want to allocate 100 strength, 100 con. For gear, you want to be in lightweight class, so that means 3 pieces of light and 1 heavy chest. For skill stones, you want physical booster. You could also go for extra hit for Hellbringer or Fury Impact because they have knockdowns. For power stones, you want physical AP, critical chance, and HP. And for your sets, you want 4x Dragonclaw, 4x Tempest Ravager or Blade Weaver twice for a total of 3 sets of 4. If you're running Legendary, you can go 3 Tempest, 3 Ravager, 3 Blade Weaver, and then 2 Sovereign's Legacy on the Legendary gear. You're going to use Cyclone Slash for movement. You can either engage or disengage with it. Your Doomfall is going to be your slow. On Hellbringer, it's a big knockdown and a lot of damage. Frenzy is going to be a pre-buff. You want to use it before every engage and before all of your damage for crit chance buff and also lifesteal. Fury Impact is a big damage skill and you can combo it after your second Hellbringer hit. Last Stand is your ultimate pull. It's a big one-shot ability. So your main engage combo is going to look like this. Frenzy into Cyclone Smash in for the engage. Last Stand, Fury Impact, Hellbringer, left click, or just try to get out. Here's some footage of Hellknight in action that was provided to me from Anime is Real. You can see that their ultimate ability clumps them up and really puts in work and really sets up the team for follow-up damage. Hellknight's a big playmaker. Next up is the Spear class. Spears are very duelist focused and have a very in and out playstyle. Shout out to Blanky for giving me this build for Legionnaire. We're going to want to prioritize Ruthless Dive to 25, No Quarter to 25, Police Verso to 25, Spear Shot to 24, Lance Cyclone to 1, and don't put any points into Supreme Force. For stats, you're going to want to get your Strength to 100, Con to 100, and for gear, you want to be in lightweight class, so that means 1 heavy chest and 3 light. For skill stones, you want Physical Booster, Power Stones attack power, critical chance, and HP. And for sets, you want Ravager's Dominion times 4, Blade Weaver times 4, and Tempest Bound times 4. If you're running 2 legendary, you want any of the AP sets times 2. For your 2 legendary pieces, you want to have the AP sets times 2. For the purple pieces, you can pick between Ravager's Dominion, Blade Weaver, or Tempest Bound, and you want to run 2 of them to times 3, so you can still run your Dragonclaw times 4 for the crit damage. Lance Cyclone clumps enemies, applies a slow, and also shreds their defense. Ruthless Dive can be comboed with No Quarter. You can group up mobs, and then you can use 1 to 2 autos, and then rinse and repeat. You can also use Ruthless Dive, No Quarter, followed up by a Police Verso, your ultimate, for a lot of damage. You're going to want to use Spear Shot as a finisher if they're running, and you can also catch them because it applies a 90% slow for 2 seconds. Police Verso is your big damage. You can use it to execute enemies if they're below 15% HP, and you can also use it to combo. The PvP combo would be your Ruthless Dive into an auto attack, into No Quarter, into another auto attack, Spear Shot into Police Verso to execute them. Then you want to run away, wait for cooldowns, and do it again. The other specialization on Spear is not viable, Lance Master. If they become viable and they make changes, I'll make a separate guide for them. On the topic of not viable classes, Dual Axes and Warhammers both have unplayable specs. I'd say Warhammer is slightly better, but still, compared to the alternatives, they're not really meta. That brings us to Dual Daggers. Dual Daggers are a cool class. They're very assassination, rogue heavily focused. They have a lot of invisibilities, high burst damage, and an in and out playstyle. Shout out to Imahitch for this build. We're going to be talking about the Viper specializations for Dual Daggers. You're going to want to level up 1000 Cuts to 25, Venom Burst to 25, Ambush to 25, Razor Spin to 23, Assassination to 1, and Poison Shroud to 1. For stats, we're going to want 100 strength, 100 con. You're going to want to be in lightweight class, so that's 1 heavy chest, 3 light. You're going to want physical boosters for skill stones, and for power stones, you're going to want physical AP, critical chance, and HP. For sets, you're going to want Ravager's Dominion 4, Blade Weaver 4, and Tempest Bound 4. If you're running 2-piece legendary, you can have any of the AP sets times 2 for your legendary pieces, and then you need 2 sets of 3 for either Ravager's Dominion, Blade Weaver, or Tempest Bound, and then Dragonclaw 4. You're going to use 1000 cuts to either heal yourself. If there's multiple targets, you can heal very quickly, or you can use it as a gap close. Poison Shroud is a getaway. It also gives you a small speed boost and gives you a little bit of invisibility. Ambush is your opener. It's a stun and also gives invisibility. You want to use Razor Spin to build max stacks of poison, but you have to hit everything to get full potential from Venom Burst. Use your Venom Burst immediately after you use your Razor Spin. Unless the target's on the move, then you want to hold on to it to use it to catch up and then be able to slam on top of them. Use Assassination as a finisher, or you can use it as an escape to disengage and wait for cooldowns. Here's a quick clip of Amahid using the Viper spec so you can see a little bit of its gameplay. The green numbers are the heal from thousands cuts we were talking about earlier, and you can see how fast the burst damage is. The other spec of Dagger is Bloodshade. Unfortunately, that one's also not viable right now. It's just a worse version of the other spec. If this changes in the future, I'll make a video showcasing it. Next up is the Bow class that has two viable specs. One of them is more sniper oriented and the other one is more duelist up in your face. First up is Archer. You'll want to get Dual Barrage to 25, Arsenal to 25, Arrow Rain to 25, Breakaway to 23, Singularity Shot to 1, and Sky Shot to 1. Archer's going to want 100 strength and 100 con for your stat allocation. You're going to want physical damage skill stones. For gear, you want to be in the light armor weight class, so that's going to be 3 pieces of light and then a heavy chest plate. For sets, you want Ravager's Dominion times 4, Blade Weavers times 4, and Tempest Bound times 4. If you have 2 legendaries, you can do Dragonclaw times 4, and then any of those AP DP times 2 for the legendary pieces, and then 2 more AP DPs times 3. Archer is actually my preferred bow. When I was playing bow a lot, I tried both specs out and I really preferred the Duelist style. This is more like up in your face. You have a lot of mobility with speed boosts and slows, and you also have a cleanse built into your breakaway ability. Your combo is going to be Arsenal for a 15% armor pierce, Dual Barrage, which shoots 2 volleys out. Each projectile has its own damage, so you want to be able to hit all of them by using it point blank. Think of it like a shotgun. Arrow Rain is your longest cooldown. It's a 70% slow for 5 seconds. It shoots out a pretty wide AoE in front of you. You can use this as an engage or a disengage. Singularity Shot pulls anything around it in a small radius and also slows everything. You can use this to set up your combos so you don't miss a piercing arrow, or to keep people in place so that you can hit your Dual Barrage. Sky Shot is an escape. If you hit the target, it also slows them. You can cancel the animation by hitting right click, and you can still receive the movement speed bonus. Breakaway is a dash that also cleanses CC, so it's best used when you're CC'd to be able to escape and get out. It additionally applies movement speed bonus. The next spec is Sharpshooter. You want to level Skyfall Shot to 25, Piercing Arrow to 25, Dragon's Wrath to 25, Quick Draw to 23, Evasive Shot to 1, and Chaining Roots to 1. On Sharpshooter, you want 100 strength, 100 con. You're going to be in lightweight class, so that means 1 heavy chest and 3 light armor pieces. For skill stones, you're going to want physical damage, and for power stones, you're going to want physical AP, critical chance, and HP. For your set bonuses, you're going to want Ravager's Dominion 4, Blade Weaver 4, Tempest Bound 4. If you're running 2-piece legendary, you can do any of the AP sets to 2 for the legendary pieces, and then you're going to want 2 of the AP DPs to 3, and then Dragonclaw to 4. Sharpshooter is a sniper, so you're going to be in the back line. You're almost like a physical caster. You have one of the largest AP ratios in the game on your ultimate, the Dragon's Wrath. It's 30% scaling per point. Your Skyfall Shot is a circular AoE that you target on the ground that just does damage. Piercing Arrow, it's a line projectile that also does damage. Chaining Roots is a line projectile that's supposed to only hit 1 target, but if targets are stacked on top of each other, it'll hit multiple. Quick Draw is a rapid succession of 5 shots. Your combo is going to be a Chaining Root into Skyfall Shot into Piercing Arrow. Alternatively, you can also use your Dragon's Wrath, which applies a knockdown, followed up with a Skyfall Shot into a Chaining Roots into Piercing Arrow into a Quick Draw. You'll use Evasive Shot as a disengage. Next up is Dual Crossbow. This class got a significant rework just like all the other classes, but instead of being a singular crossbow like it was in the alpha, it is now a dual wielding crossbow spec. I got this build from Thrax, so shout out to him. On Marksman, you're going to level up Ballista to 25, Stun Bomb to 25, Steel Trap to 25, Prowl Step to 23, and Hunt Thrill to 1, and Explosive Arrow to 1. On Crossbow, you're going to want 100 strength, 100 con. You're going to be in lightweight class, so you want 1 heavy chest and 3 light pieces. For skill stones, you want Physical Booster. For power stones, you want physical AP, critical chance, and HP. For sets, you want Ravager's Dominion 4, Blade Weaver 4, and Tempest Bound 4. Alternatively, you can do Ravager's Dominion 3, Blade Weaver 3, Tempest Bound 3, and Dragonclaw 3. If you're gonna go for the 2-piece legendary, you can have any of the AP, DP sets as the ×2 for the Lego pieces, and then you're gonna want 2 out of the 3 for the AP, DP ×3, and then you're gonna want Dragonclaw ×4 for the crit damage. Stun Bomb is an AoE that does good damage that also applies a stun. Steel Trap is thrown on the ground. If someone steps on it, it roots them and also shreds their DP. Ballista is the hardest hitting ability you have. You place an immobile ballista on the ground that repeatedly fires. Your Prowl Step is a defensive ability. It gives you increased movement speed and also makes you invincible for 1.5 seconds. Your combo is going to be a stun grenade into a Steel Trap, ballista, auto attack. Get 6 stacks of Relentless Pursuit. Use Hunt Thrill to reset all your cooldowns, and then you can do it again. The next weapon we're going to talk about is Arcane Staff. They're ranged controllers with good AoE damage. This is the class that I have the most time on, and I really enjoy it. You're going to want to prioritize Meteor to 25, Tornado to 25, Lightning to 25, Ice Cage to 23, Earthquake to 1, and Elemental Dash to 1. You're going to want 100 Int and 100 Con for your stats allocated. For your skill stones, you're going to want Elemental Damage, and for your power stones, you're going to want Magic AP, Critical Chance, and HP. For your gear, you want to be Robe weight class, so that's going to be a combination of 1 heavy chest and 3 robe, or 1 light chest armor, and then pick either a light helmet, gloves, or boots, and then the rest 2 robe. For your sets, you're going to want it 4 times Astral Conflux, 4 times Spellfire, and 4 times Savage Strike. If you have a 2-piece legendary, you're going to want Astral Conflux on your 2-piece legendary, Spellfire 3, Astral Conflux 3, and Dragonclaw 4. Elementalist is a long-ranged AoE damage and crowd controller. Elementalists have a passive that whenever you get sync stacks by using abilities, it changes the effects of each ability. I'll go over them in more detail as we talk about the skills. You can set up clumps with Tornado. When used in conjunction with your passive, it also doubles your slow from 30 to 60%. And you can follow up with a 2-second stun and a hard-hitting damage that applies burn with Meteor. When using your fire passive, it makes your burns last longer, additionally increasing the damage by 30%. Lightning is a long-ranged, hard-hitting AoE that also procs your passive that allows your next ability to have 30% increased spell damage. Ice Cage can be used offensively. It provides a 2-second freeze and an AoE. It can also be used defensively to heal yourself and make you immune to damage. The Frost passive also allows your Ice Cage to go from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. Earthquake is a short-ranged cone ability that shreds MR and DR. If you're using it in conjunction with your passive, it shreds twice as much, for a total of 40%. Elemental Dash is your only movement ability. You can use it to engage or disengage. It also has effects with your passives that are unique to the dash. When you're in flame form, it leaves behind a trail of fire that lasts 3 seconds and deals 300% burn damage to enemies every 0.5 seconds. When in ice form, you leave behind a freezing trail that slows enemies by 40% for 2 seconds. Earth form grants 25% physical defense for 5 seconds. After using Elemental Dash with Lightning, it guarantees your next hit's going to be a critical hit. And finally, Wind form grants you 25% movement speed for 3 seconds. It's also important to note if you don't have an elemental form active, when you use Dash, you'll become immune to negative effects for 1 second. Your maximum damage combo is going to be Earthwaking to shred MR and DR, Lightning, which then gives you 30% crit damage boost on your next attack, Elemental Dash for the 100% crit rate, followed into a Meteor. In PvP, I save my dash, so I'm going to use my Ice Cage as CC as a defensive to peel and heal myself. I usually open with Tornado because it's great to clump people, and then I can follow it up with a freeze into Lightning Meteor if I know I'll be safe. The next spec in Arcane Staff is Necromancer. You're going to want to level Grave Legion to 25, Necroherd to 25, Agony Wall to 25, Revenant's Vengeance to 23, or Maw of Hell to 23. I personally choose Revenant's Vengeance because it's a damage ability that has no CC. And then finally Inferno Trick to 1. On Necromancer, you're going to want 100 Int and 100 Con. You're going to be Robe weight class. You could alternatively go a heavyweight class, and I think there's actually a good push for that because of the way the Necromancer scales. With its passive, you get negative 50% AP scaling, and you also scale AP based on 7.5% of your maximum HP. However, when you're in heavyweight class, you gain 10% maximum HP, but you lose 30% AP, and you gain 20% AP from Robe. So in a total, you're losing 50% AP. You're already scaling at a 50% deficit, and the HP scaling matters more. For skill stones, you're going to want elemental damage. For power stones, you're going to want magic AP, critical chance, and HP. For your sets, you're going to want Astral Conflux 4, Spellfire 4, and Dragonclaw 4. If you're opting for the 2-piece legendary set, you're going to want Astral Conflux 3, Seraphic Grace ×2 for the legendary pieces, Divine Aegis for 3, and Dragonclaw for 4. This is maximizing the amount of HP you can get per set. Maw of Hell is going to be your initiator. Use it as a knockdown and CC so you can follow it up with any of your other abilities. Grave Legion is your hardest hitting and highest scaling ability. However, it's slow and close ranged, so you need to have them locked down. Necro Herd, it's a line projectile that shoots out in front of you, and anyone that's hit takes damage and also gets rooted for 1.5 seconds. Agony Wall is probably your best ability in this whole kit. It purges all positive effects, which include shields, and also shreds magic resist, meaning you want to use it early in your combo. You can do face value damage and not have to go through shields. This is also another reason why I opted in to leave Maw at level 1, because Maw is also your initiator, so I don't want to be wasting one of my big damage abilities when they still have shields. Inferno Trick is one of your only escapes. It's a jump back, which then also slows in an AoE in front of you. Revenant's Vengeance is a long range AoE that does initial damage and also does percent HP damage based on your maximum HP. Your combo is going to be Maw of Hell into Agony Wall, into Grave Legions, Revenant's Vengeance, or Necro Herd based on range. Necro Herd if they're close, you can root them. Revenant's Vengeance if Necro Herd's out of range. If you're initiating this combo at range, you can skip Grave Legion because it's going to be too slow to reach them. This brings us to the last weapon, Life Staff. Life Staff has 2 viable specs. If you guys are liking the video so far and you guys like the content, if you could leave me a like, subscribe, and comment on the video, I'd greatly appreciate it. I hope I can provide more content for you guys. Let me know down in the comments what video you guys would like to see next. Alright, let's jump into it. The first Life Staff spec is Luminary. Sarasuit gave me this build, so shout out to him. From skill priorities from top to bottom, you want to level up Divine Beam to 25, Dual Surge to 25, Divine Rush to 23, Sacred Instinct to 25, Radiant Halo to 1, and Heavenly Blessing to 1. For stats, you're going to want 100 mental. That's going to give you more mana. Your healing skills off of your mana. And then you're going to also want 100 con for HP. You'll want to be in robe weight class. So that's going to be 1 heavy, 3 robe, or 1 light armor. And then either light helmet, light gloves, or light boots, and 2 robe pieces. For skill stones, you're going to want the healing percent increase. For power stones, you're going to want magic AP, mana, and either HP, evasion, or crit defense. For your sets, you're going to want 4 times Seraphic Grace, 4 times Divine Aegis, 4 times Astral Conflux / Spellfire. You can choose. 4-piece legendary is going to be 4-piece Seraphic Grace, 4-piece Divine Aegis, and 4-piece Seraphic Grace for the legendary. Luminary's passive is Blessing. It grants allies 2% increased damage and 5% increased received healing, stacking up to 5 times. Divine Beam is a short cooldown. It pierces all targets and heals yourself for each ally hit. It also heals allies and applies Blessing. You want to level this up for its short cooldown and its damage and heal increase. Dual Surge is 2 long range waves that deal pretty good damage, heals, and applies Blessing. It pierces all targets, and it's great for mass healing groups while also damaging enemies. Level this due to its huge AoE while being an offensive and defensive tool. Divine Rush is a short range dash that heals yourself and all allies you pass through, additionally damaging enemies and also applying Blessing to allies. Sacred Instinct is a big AoE shield that also grants blessings. You want to level this so you get more shields. Radiant Halo is a slow moving circle that does minimal damage, but it applies shields and also provides a speed up for your teammates and also slows down enemies. This also applies Blessing. It's also noteworthy, if you repeatedly run in and out of it, you'll keep reapplying shields. Next up is Spirit Wanderer. TKE gave me his build, so shout out to him for letting me use it. From top to bottom, you're going to want to max out Mana Tide 25, Soul Beacon 25, Redemption 22, Divine Intervention 25, and Soul Cascade 1, and Realm Shift 1. For stats, you're going to want 100 Mentality, 100 Con, and for gear, you want to be in Robe weight class, so that's either 1 heavy chest with 3 robe, or 1 light armor with either 1 light helmet, gloves, or boots, and 2 robe. For skill stones, you're going to want healing percent increase, and for power stones, you're going to want magic AP, mana, and then either HP, evasion, or crit defense. For sets, you're going to want 4 times Seraphic Grace, 4 times Divine Aegis, 4 times Astral Conflux or Spellfire. If you're running 4-piece legendary, you're going to want 4 times Seraphic Grace, 4 times Divine Aegis, and 4 times Seraphic Grace for the legendary pieces. Redemption is a low cooldown AoE CC cleanse, which should be used on wherever a target is being CC'd, whether that's an engage or if your backline is being dove and they're CC'd. Mana Tide is either going to be used as your burst damage in conjunction with your passive, or it's going to be used as a self heal. If you have nearby allies, they'll be splashed as well. Soul Beacon is another heal that heals over time. You should be using it whenever you engage. Soul Cascade is a 15% crit chance and also a heal. You can use it on your range damage before they start using their damage, and you can also use it on the ally clump. Realm Shift is a 3.5 second invulnerability, which also heals yourself and nearby allies. This is your best emergency button. Divine Intervention is your long cooldown that stuns for 1.5 seconds and also heals allies in an area. You can use this on an enemy engage or an ally engage. That concludes our full class guide. If you guys made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you guys like the content, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know what video you guys want to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next one.